Welcome to CRM Audio, the Dynamics 365 podcast with Business Solutions MVPs George Dubinsky, Joel Lindstrom, and Sean the CRM Hobbit Tabor. This episode of CRM Audio is sponsored by Alexa CRM. WordPress powers more than 25% of all the websites on the internet and is the number one choice for blogs, websites, and portals because it's open source, simple to use, reliable, and extendable. Dynamics CRM has become a de facto standard in sales, marketing, customer service, and industry solutions. Now they can work together thanks to the Dynamics CRM WordPress plugin built with love by the Alexa CRM team. Capture forms, engage your users and customers, all without writing any code. Control your site in WordPress, keeping your data in CRM. To build the plugin, Alexa CRM has created an open source Dynamics CRM PHP toolkit, unlocking the world of Dynamics for PHP developers. Download your 30-day trial from alexacrm.com/plugin and instantly create a portal by connecting your CRM and WordPress site. We thank Alexa CRM for their sponsorship of CRM Audio. Welcome to the Hitachi Customer Conference, George. How you doing?
It's quite exciting, a bit tired, but as one would be after the 26-hour journey.
That's nothing. So how does the reality of South Carolina match with your previous conception of South Carolina?
None at all, because I didn't have any preconceptions about...
You didn't know we existed.
Honestly, I expected it to be bigger.
Okay.
As I was driving from Atlanta, I was kind of expecting the, skyscrapers appearing in the distance, and then I find myself like, "You have arrived," and it's like, "Really? Is that it?" But very nice town, very friendly, and have to give you guys credit. I had a first very, very decent coffee in America.
Wow, first
in South Carolina.
So what is the normal American coffee like? 2 week?
It's just awful. How do I describe it? It's just not a coffee. It's a brown liquid. That's average American coffee, but definitely I was impressed. It's on par.
So you're actually here as a sponsor with Alexa. So you had some big news with Alexa. You got into the WordPress.
Yes, finally
store.
we split our product into base one that we open sourced and moved it under GPL license, and finally managed to publish it in the WordPress directory, which is fit in itself. They go through quite rigorous process. Unlike a lot of formal processes, they actually do look at your code, and they do read, and they do point mistakes and no-nos.
So when they looked at it, did they actually set up a CRM online environment and test it out, or what? How did they do that?
I doubt. They probably have a bunch of tools that go and they look for things that you're not supposed to do.
Okay.
They have quite rigid, strict guidelines, what you're not allowed to do, what you're allowed to do. For example, if the sole purpose of your plugin is solicitation of some external paid services, you're going to be rejected straight away. But then, so there is a logical part of it where they look at what your plugin is supposed to do, and then there is a pure coding part of it when they look at your code and say, "Hey, you're doing X, Y, and Z here. It's a bad practice. You need to fix that."
Okay.
And so forth. And then the last bit, they look at how you name your plugin.
Okay.
And there was a funny story that the guy wrote email to us and said, "I was ready to push the button to approve your plugin, then I noticed that you name it Dynamics. What are you trying to do? Get us sued by Microsoft?" turns out that's a no-no. Basically, no plugins will be accepted that begins with the brand name.
Okay.
So you can't say, you can't repeat stuff that is obvious. You can't name your plugin, say, XYZ WordPress plugin, because it is WordPress and it is plugin, so it's kind of repetition. So they're saying XYZ, but if XYZ is a trademark, we can't name our plugin, for example, Dynamic CRM.
Okay.
Right.
So, but if people go to the WordPress, I guess you call it store, and search for, or the marketplace and search for Dynamic CRM, do they find you?
Correct. Yes, we'll be right on top because it searches for a combination of different things, including tags and keywords. We call, like under the hood, we call integration for Dynamics.
Okay.
But humanly readable name is Dynamic CRM integration.
So are there any other WordPress Dynamic CRM integrations that you're aware of?
No, not Dynamic CRM. There are a couple plugins that deal with a bit of SalesForce, like capturing leads and stuff like this, but nothing on the scale we're dealing with Dynamic CRM. So we integrate in quite tightly. So anyway, so we went open source. So this part is GPL. So you download, you install. It gives you ability to surface CRM data in WordPress and publish WordPress capture input from people directly into CRM. So something like leads or contact us and similar stuff. So it's, as I said, it's open source. It's on the GitHub. The same way as it's built on top of PHP Toolkit, which we also put on the GitHub. If you fancy PHP and you have other environments like Drupal or Joomla or custom PHP site, you can download this toolkit, and we invite people to test it, submit the bugs, participate, fork out the development, do your own thing. Then submit pull requests, and we're looking forward to for the community to pick it up and
nice
and develop the ecosystem. Because let's be honest, like WordPress, Joomla, and Drupal, between them, they've got around 65% of all worldwide sites.
Right.
So that's a massive amount of sites. Well, technically speaking, 99% of them are complete rubbish, but the 1% is the one that matters.
So your scheme to get people to stop by your table has been interesting. You brought the Tim Tams, which are a wafer cookie sandwich thing from Australia.
It's a traditional Australian wafer cookie. It's kind of, in Australia, that would be equivalent of Oreo, I guess.
Will you be bribing people with Tim Tams at CRMUG as well?
Absolutely. I've got the stash, so I just testing the waters here, see how people like the idea of swapping business cards for Tim Tams, and I've got different flavors. I've got toffee apple, I've got champagne strawberry, I've got double chocolate, and I've got dark chocolate flavors. So
nice.
Stop by our booth at CRMUG, and
so the cost per Tim Tam is one business card.
Correct.
And you can only give your business card one time too.
I'm thinking of restricting it per domain name. so say Hitachi employees can't just line up and eat all the cookies.
So I was reading in Microsoft MS Dynamics World. They have an article supposedly, from what they're reporting, Parature and Dynamics marketing are fading away. And we've heard rumors of this before, but it sounds like it's becoming a reality that with Parature we've now got that functionality kind of baked into CRM for the most part. Although I don't see a replacement for the chat yet, and so I'm wondering, will we be seeing chat come in before Parature is officially rides off into the sunset, crosses the rainbow bridge, whatever euphemism you want to use?
Interesting that you mentioned that when we were developing a course for Unified Service Desk developers, one of the modules that we developed was creating a CTI provider out of Skype for Business.
Okay.
And I looked very briefly. I looked into new Skype API, and the new API is massive. It's got a lot of capabilities, and one of those capabilities is actually anonymous chat.
And when you say Skype API, does that mean using Skype without having to run the Skype application? Like, can you do it through your portal or website?
Well, you can. You still run Skype, but it will surface in the frame, so you'll be able to run it through a portal. But there will be kind of anonymous web-based client.
Okay.
So you can build one. You can build one and effectively creating a chat kind of support many-to-one chat application. It's still a bit too complicated to my taste. The web chat is supposed to be very, very simple, but the complexity of the web chat application is not so much on the client side as it is on the agent side. And that bit I have to give Parature credit. That was done reasonably well.
And it's extremely simple to set up. There's very few options. It basically does all the heavy lifting for you.
Correct, yes.
So that was one of the things about Parature that I really liked, and that's where we do have clients, some which are actually rolling it out now, using it specifically for the knowledge management and the for employee self-service, and also for the chat function, and it works very well for those features.
I'm not sure if it's gonna stay as a separate SKU or how it's gonna work out. I'm not gonna shed a tear after MDM. So that's kind of never was in my league anyway.
Well, the other thing with the MDM thing, besides that article, is the big announcement this week. Microsoft basically said that Adobe Marketing Cloud is their preferred marketing solution for Dynamics 365. So that was pretty much a...
Would that cover the functionality which presumably was the key functionality of MDM, and that is marketing from the point of view of the agency?
I don't know about that. I don't know the whole client looking for more of an agency or an advertising agency with creating advertisements and marketing them up, the digital asset management. That was probably what I thought was the most impressive thing about Dynamics marketing. That was also the things that I never found a customer for. But I'm sure if you're selling to ad agencies, then I think that's attractive. But the reality tells me what the average Dynamics customer is looking for is right down the middle of text, surveys, email marketing, campaigns, events, all of which Click Dimensions does better than anybody else.
I suppose one could argue that they could have spent a fraction of the money they spent on MDM and bought Click Dimension a few years ago.
It's still not too late.
Well, but now they're much more expensive.
Exactly. Well, somebody's got to pay to send Matthew Whitteman to Germany.
That's right. And his family.
That's right. Get their take on it, too.
I was surprised actually to find out when I was looking at the share in CRM business. Adobe kept coming somewhere on top of the pile in a lot of categories.
Right.
And I'm not quite sure how they fit in general in CRM category. Definitely it's the Adobe Cloud is something I never looked into, and here we are.
Well, I think it's just, CRM has broadened so much that, we've talked about before, Microsoft with Dynamics 365 is kind of going away from that term to customer engagement more than, because it's relationships, but it's also field service, project service. So I think that the whole CRM label and the CRM category is so broad now that it's hard to do because you've got old school Siebel, Salesforce automation, that type of thing you think of. But then I look at the customers we got here. We've got people in nonprofit donation management and things like that. We've got franchise relationship management, all these things that stretch the definition of CRM way beyond your traditional Salesforce automation and marketing automation.
Once we started talking about nonprofit, I wonder what Hitachi's approach to dealing with nonprofit organizations, because I personally met vendors who would say bluntly, like, okay guys, maybe you are nonprofit, but we are very much for profit, so
right.
And they wouldn't give discounts.
And when it comes down to it, yes, there are vendors that have nonprofit solutions for CRM, for things like fundraising. But when it comes down to it, when you look at what they're doing, it's sales and marketing. What they're selling is donating to feed a hungry child or donating to some cause, but it's basically, you've got people in sales roles, you've got people who are in marketing roles, customer service people in a call center taking calls. But what I find is it's interesting, and one of our clients, Adam from World Vision, gave a presentation, and he was talking about, in a very effective way, how many of you in the audience, your top one or two metrics are customer satisfaction. And many people raised their hand. He said, okay, if that's the case, why do we incentivize people in the call center based on how many calls they can make per hour, basically how quickly they can hang up on the customer? which is good. It's interesting because they're trying to not shorten the call, but lengthen the effective time interacting with the people and take away from the admin side of things. So where CRM's a big win there is, we're not trying to jam more calls or shorten the calls. We're actually trying to keep the call a bit longer, but cut down on the amount of admin time between calls. It's pretty effective for that, because instead of having all these mainframe or old systems to have to navigate between, you got CRM as the one main interface.
It's interesting. I was looking at statistics again when preparing for Unified Service Desk course, and one statistic was really interesting, that in the past few years, people flocking to self-service model,
right,
to the web, and prefer it as a channel for interacting with the customer service. And mostly, one can argue that it's mostly due to the fact that in majority of cases, first interaction sucks.
Right.
But the interesting statistic to follow was that first call resolution dropped as a result of that. So when people call, they call with more complex problems.
Right, yeah. And I that has come up in a lot of meetings I've had, meeting with people like banks, insurance companies, people like that. And my perception was it's all the millennials. They want to do everything online, and they said that they're not actually finding that. What they're finding is there are 20-year-old people who want to call, and then there's 75-year-old people that want to do everything online now. So it's the age thing is kind of different, but it's just making it available from where people are. And I know for me, if I'm dealing with my cable company or my bank, I can get a faster answer chatting with the person through the website than calling and being on hold. But other people like to be able to call somebody. So
yeah. I reckon I thought about this. Why, for example, I don't like calls, particularly why I don't like callbacks, like we'll call you back, and why I prefer the web chat interaction. And there are two things here. The one is web chat is like a background thread. You can do other things.
Right.
There is no demand. There is no pressure for immediate response. And on both sides, agent can multitask and you can multitask, right? So it works for everyone. But the other thing is why I don't like callbacks when they're saying, "Oh, please, we'll call you back. We're very busy now," is that you're relinquishing control.
I never believe they'll call me back.
No, they do call back.
Yeah.
But the moment you do that, it's like a chess game. So it's like you lost control. You're no
Yes.
longer in control. They control when they call you back.
Right.
So they in command now. And don't give them that
Like
satisfaction.
it's your move now. So,
Your move, yeah. It's a kind of, no, it's never call me back. Yeah, I'm going to call you. Don't call us, we'll call you. But the web chat is definitely my preferred way dealing with the service companies.
Right.
And absence of the decent chat client, I think it's a big gap.
Right. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I think once we get chat in and they make it easy to use, especially now we've got portal options and things like that that are practically out of the box almost. Then that will be the complete picture, and then we can kiss Parature goodbye.
Yeah, and guess why we invested as a company into developing for integration for WordPress with CRM. Because I guarantee you, if you go to the plugin store and search for the web chat, there will be like 12 different plugins that do a web chat.
Well, and I have a lot of people who ask for chat, but I don't see a consistent picture of what people want of how it should be integrated with CRM. Okay, USD, it makes a lot of sense because it got the multi-sessioning and it can have a chat window open here, but just inside a CRM, that you're more in the context of I'm working with this company, that I'm working with this company, a chat window popping up real time doesn't really fit that flow.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me because in USD, the biggest draw card for the chat is ability to pull contextual information and pre-build snippets of your chat conversation.
Right, yeah,
And use
the suggested text.
Yes,
and,
and
like
use
that.
agent script to drive your conversation and effectively give you the script and give you ability to modify it, give you ability to control it, but pre-building sort of canned responses for you. And based on the context of your conversation, based on the information that you have in front of you.
Right.
So that's the biggest plus of integration.
I think storing the history as an activity makes sense.
It does, and that USD does as well. So, like at the end of the conversation, you could push the button.
With the USD chat, what is the chat engine you're primarily using with that?
Oh, the samples that I've seen.
Is that built rolling your own?
Yeah, it's either rolling your own or using third party.
I'm here with Ryan O'Connell from Scribe. Ryan's a solution architect. How you doing, Ryan?
Good. How you doing, Joel?
Doing great. Enjoying the conference. So, Ryan, is this your first time to Greenville?
It is my first time. Yes, been to South Carolina before, but not Greenville.
A lot of people think of us as a beach. We have no beaches here, but there's other things.
Right.
All right. So tell me what you do with Scribe.
Well, I am basically I work with customers and partners, primarily partners, and help them talk through their solutions and their services around integration. So a lot of times, any project, whether it's CRM or anything across the Dynamics suite, it always starts out with really kind of implementing their traditional services, but then trying to figure out how do we then integrate with all the other endpoints in the enterprise.
That's cool. And you've got a lot of really interesting things, especially in the online world, coming. You have a brand new interface, don't you?
We do. It's called our Crystal release. It's going to be out by the end of this month, and it is moving to HTML5 for all those out there that were dying to see us move away from Silverlight. We're doing that.
Moment of silence for Silverlight.
True.
Other than Silverlight, one of the things that I thought was most exciting was being able to manage integrations via other devices than a computer, like a phone or any type of device, basically.
Very true, and I'm glad you brought that up, because that was one of the biggest things that partners are coming back to us with, and having that relationship with partners and working with them on a regular basis, in addition to the Silverlight, but being able to have that mobile experience, so whether they're working on their tablet or whether they have to use their smartphone to be able to see those integrations, get the status of what's going on, and be able to leverage the interface mobily.
So what are your most common, or some of your most common integration scenarios you're coming up against these days?
Well, obviously the Dynamics suite seems to be in virtually every conversation, primarily CRM, especially doing a lot of work with Hitachi. But in addition to that, where we're seeing a tremendous amount of movement is in the marketing automation side of the business. So where they are working directly with the CRM or the AX or any version of the ERP system, we're starting to see that coupled with marketing automation pretty regularly.
Yeah, I'm seeing that a demand for that, especially if a client is looking at Dynamics CRM and already has a relationship with a marketing, like a Marketo or something like that, where there's not necessarily an out-of-the-box integration. Kudos to people like Click Dimensions. I love them, but you can't always depend that they're going to have a solution like Click. They might, any number of different, like Eloqua, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I love the ability to use that to extend it. What have you seen, any integrations that used to be more prevalent that you don't see as much anymore?
Well, obviously with the change in the technologies and with what Microsoft and a lot of other ISVs have tried to move away from is that traditional XML, where it's everything and all things are XML, import, export, moving away from queues. So that's something that's starting to become sort of a legacy way to integrate data. It's now moving more towards the web services, leveraging JSON, and really taking advantage of the ability to do a lot of these things more dynamically instead of having to do it traditionally with XML.
I used to do, remember 5-6 years ago, I think it seemed like it would do a gold mine integration every week, practically.
Right. Yeah, whether you liked it or not.
So yeah, that's cool. So I guess, where do you see this going? I guess one question for people who are maybe more familiar with Insight than online: are the two platforms at parity? Can you do everything you could do with Insight now with online? Because I know initially you couldn't.
Right. That's probably one of the number one questions coming from partners that have been traditionally working with Insight on the majority of their projects for going on 20 years now. And we do have the majority of the feature functionality parity between the two systems. But like I had just mentioned about XML, we are not quite there with XML. We're not there with direct access to things like AX 2012. These are things that are in our roadmap. But outside of that, the functionality is comparable in the sense that, well, we may not use MSQ services with Scribe Online, but we do leverage endpoint URLs, JSON calls to be able to mimic that sort of event-based, real-time sort of integration. So it may not be exactly the same, but certainly similar, and the flexibility is also growing with the online platform as well.
Yeah, I think in line with the mobile-first, cloud-first world, I think online has some compelling things going for it. Especially, if you're a company, say, that is going from running your own data centers and having servers all over the place, moving to the cloud, saying, oh, and you got to set up this server to use for your integration.
Oh,
that kind of dampens the enthusiasm a little bit. So having things being totally online, is great. So let's see. Anything else new and upcoming or exciting that you want to let people know about?
I'm a true geek when it comes to this kind of technology, and I'm excited about the new platform, especially moving to the new Crystal release. I think it's great, and I think what we do, and you kind of highlighted this, moving to the cloud, having this sort of this sort of access to not have to think about those things that typically get the cringes from the CIOs as part of a statement of work in a project to say, I have to install what on premise just to be able to do this integration, but to be able to give partners and customers the ability to have something that's very mobile, very fast, and reusable. And I think to be able to standardize like that really positions partners to be able to come in, predict results, predict how long it takes to to do some of these integrations. I think that goes a long way. And to me, that's very exciting.
Let me ask you one question I have received from people who are really interested in Scribe Online, but have a lot of legacy Insight integrations built up. Are you looking to do anything to make that transition easier other than, you got to rewrite your whole integration?
Well, it's certainly not a glamorous thing, but we have the ability to support virtually all of the legacy applications that are out there. And certainly if a customer is leveraging SSIS right now, where they've got that tremendous black box that they've invested a lot of time and effort into, the ability to, I see this as an opportunity, both for them and partners like Hitachi, to say, well, we can streamline this, we can simplify this for you. So granted, you might have to do some remodeling or re-architecting, but it's something that you'll be happy you've done in the end.
Okay. Well, Ryan, appreciate your time and appreciate you coming out to the conference. Thanks for joining us here on the podcast.
My pleasure, Joel. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Joining us now is our field reporter, Mr. Hobbit. How are you, Sean?
Well, sir. How about you? How's the conference?
Oh, the conference is a happening place. We missed you here, but I'm glad that you could join us remotely with your field report.
So does this count to say I haven't missed a Hitachi conference in 4 years now?
Yeah, sure, whatever. So,
I do have a little bit of news, if you'd like me to share. It looks like, given the recent acquisition of from a Microsoft perspective of LinkedIn, it looks like Salesforce is coming around with their alternate, and they have just today came out on a couple of investing websites that messaging startup Slack integrated its platform with Salesforce, and it seems like there's a pretty serious partnership there, which I wonder what will that do to how will Dynamics swing back through against that, or will that do anything to it? Will we have our own messaging platform outside of Yammer, that kind of thing? Just an interesting little tidbit that just came up today. It's really looking like it's trying to disrupt the overall dominance of Microsoft in the enterprise software space, but it's not looking like it's going to really challenge anything for Windows 365 or any of the Office suite particularly. But it's looking like it's Salesforce's play to try to go against Yammer and Cortana and some of the AI play that Microsoft has been looking to do recently. But really looking forward to that first look at 365 next week on the 11th. And that really coincides with the other conference that you're going to be at, and that's CRM UG, right?
That's right. Yeah, that's next week in your hometown, Tampa.
It is, and I'm going to do my damnedest to try to be there. There's a couple things going on where it might preclude me from being there, but I'm gonna definitely try.
So what should somebody who has never been to Tampa wear to the CRMUG Summit? Will it be, which of the three Tampa temperatures will be, hot, hotter, or hottest?
Well, what I like to think is if you're coming from the north or the northeast, or even the
basically
the west,
anywhere north of Mexico.
Right. What you'll find, what you'll be greeted with when you get off the plane, and I am talking about even walking into the Tampa airport, not really outside, this nice layer of kind of congealed moisture will envelop your body. Think of dipping burlap into a thick viscous fluid and then just putting that on you. That's what you're looking forward to, so enjoy. You'll find at the convention center in Tampa there's a lot of connected areas with lots of air conditioning, so that should help you. a great deal. Depending on where you're staying, you might be able to just stay within that air conditioning your entire route from your room to the convention center. So good luck on you there. But yeah, you should. It should be with the hurricane passing. We should have a good layer of humidity, probably some sunshine, and hopefully no rain.
That would be good.
Yeah. So
I'm going to be with our friend Stephanie Byrne,
Okay.
who also works for Hitachi,
Yes.
and we're going to be leading a session about server-side synchronization and Outlook. So about 45 minutes after that, or let's say 35 minutes after that session starts, I wouldn't recommend sending her any really embarrassing emails, because we'll be demonstrating the Outlook client and the Outlook Lightweight app. So again, do not send Stephanie Byrne any embarrassing emails during that session.
No, I wouldn't.
Just letting you know.
I would never think of it. Hold on, I'm writing something down completely separate from this. Yes. That should be entertaining. That should be a great session. I'm gonna keep that in mind. So hopefully I'll be able to see that in person. But if not, I'll be there in spirit. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Well, if I don't see you next week, this will be not one but two times I have traveled to Tampa this year that you were not there and I didn't see you. So I need to see you there to believe that you really live in Tampa.
Well, the plan is this: you will see me. I just may not be attending the summit. So we will make plans. We will see each other. I just may not be able to be at the summit.
Great. So my first, probably the number one feature that I'm most excited about for the Dynamics 365, also known as the fall release, is the editable grids.
Yes.
Basically, the dream of having any view in CRM or any subgrid be an editable grid, or even a grid on mobile being an editable grid, is one of my dreams come true.
It's a big deal. It really is a big deal. I mean, when it was first launched a couple years ago with just the opportunity, I'm not exactly sure what the product team thought process was. I understand that they thought we're really going to be able to give some great functionality for the sales team, but how they could not have assumed that once that was in one entity, you would clearly want it on others, or at least custom entities. That I never understood, but I'm super excited about that.
The idea of putting on the one entity and then not releasing it for any other entities, I would equate to, for example, if you went to Costco and they gave you the sample of the fruit by the foot, and then there's no fruit by the foot to buy in the store.
Yeah, you can only buy it.
Get you all excited.
Right, you can only buy it by the metric ton.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So no, that's going to be great amongst a number of other really great things. So that's just it's great to see. I'm sure we'll see this even more at CRMUG Summit, but talking to people here and talking through, or then hearing from Microsoft some of the things that are coming. And I mean, mobile, it's almost like the whole UI is getting a facelift. Mm-hmm. And so I'm a big fan of mobile, the mobile app, but we're going to have Power BI in there. We're going to have a number of different things that really I'm seeing the vision of mobile and the mobile Mocha interface being the future. And that just continues to get better. I mean, it's already been with in 2016 update 1, all the special gestures and signature controls and starring records and things like that you can do that you can't do in the browser. It's already getting that way, but it's just going to accelerate more and more.
And so how is that? Are you making plans? And this could be a scoop, but are you making plans to update your book?
Probably not. Here's some free career advice to people aspiring to have a career in the Dynamics 365 market. You're not going to make any money selling books about Dynamics 365. And actually 5 minutes before you publish your book, it's going to all be outdated.
Right. Well, I mean, have you thought about doing any electronic addendums?
I did that for the last release, and I hate to see that fall by the wayside, but I'm thinking of other formats that might be better. That's where I think if I either a blog post or videos, maybe a YouTube series or something like that, where you can more easily update the content. I think is the better way to go. So, and a lot of the things I wrote in the book about the limitations are wrong now. So a lot of the things that gripes I had about subgrids, a lot of things about the way that, for example, I don't know, I gotta think of a good example here, but half the entities that I said didn't work on mobile now work on mobile.
Right.
And so we're basically down to the campaign entities and then entities that the people nobody ever uses, fax, letter, etc., that don't work on it. So I think I think it would basically need a full rewrite at this point. So
and what do you?
No, I think I may sunset that. Also, if I was to rewrite the book, I wouldn't call it the survival guide because, frankly, it's much more stable now. And it's like in 2013, I felt like you needed to have, almost a medic standing by to rescue you. Now it's fairly stable, and I don't have users have a lot of problems. Although I will say it's an annual tradition. iOS releases a new release, and it breaks something with the app, and this happened this year too with iOS 10. And there's currently a bug that if you have a ADFS federated single sign-on CRM online environment, you can't use the mobile app now. It's not Microsoft's fault. It's Apple breaking stuff. And that affects other Office 365 stuff, like the Office 365 video app wasn't working. Some of the like Word and Excel apps weren't working. Some of them have fixed it already, and the Dynamics fix is supposed to be coming soon. But I've always preached, don't let your users install the updates until you've tested it out, and nobody listens to me. I keep talking and moving my mouth, and nobody listens.
It's definitely important if you're doing if you have a mobile strategy, you have to look at those kind of things, and you cannot either using something like if you some kind of mobile software like Mobile Iron or Dynamics CRM mobile app. Can't think of the name of it now. What's the one we use?
Intune?
Yes, Intune, to control those kind of updates. So you don't run into those kind of issues, because that is a huge problem, especially with all the different versions of Android, iOS versions coming out seemingly every month or so. When they release a big release and then they have 2 or 3 dot releases to fix things that broke when they did the major release. All things that in a CRM implementation, or a Dynamics implementation rather, I guess we have to stop saying that. In a Dynamics implementation, you have to look out for now.
Yeah, but I mean, the Dynamics app's not working, it's practically worth it now that the trade-off of finally being able to send animated GIFs of Oprah crying.
That is awesome. It is.
In your iMessage.
Yep, exactly. And I think that is a strategy that we have to get with George on. I would like you to take some photos of George in various emotive states so that we can create our own emojis and create a Dynamics Audio emoji pack.
Yeah, I actually looked into how to make a sticker pack. The only thing that, only reason I couldn't do it right now is I don't have a Mac. I currently don't have a Mac, and you have to have a Mac to make a sticker pack.
Ah, very nice. Well, that's something we need to work on. Because who wouldn't want to have a bunch of stickers of George?
We'll need to talk to our generous sponsor, Alexa CRM, about paying for a Mac for us so that we can make a sticker pack of George.
And we're probably going to each need one. And an Apple TV.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Microsoft's announcement of their partnership with Adobe Marketing Cloud, and announcement that their marketing solution in Dynamics 365 is going to be the Adobe solution, not Microsoft Dynamics Marketing?
Well, I think that can afford a lot of great functionality using the Adobe Marketing Cloud. However, it's kind of, in a way, one step back to get a step forward. You know, um, there was a lot of promise, a lot of potential innovation with Dynamics marketing that never saw the light of day. Um, I'm hoping that we're able to see either uh, more focused development of marketing functionality, you know, point marketing functionality, meaning things like surrounding. I believe in the fall release, we're going to see some event management functionality, um, things that we can drive marketing efforts through the portal, things like that, in combination with the Adobe marketing functionality. Um, I, it, I think it's a good strategic move. I'm just worried that it's going to push us out another 18 months before we really see anything really, really solid for implementations. I could be completely wrong.
Right. Yeah.
I could be completely wrong.
I agree.
But,
I think I think our solution is still going to be click dimensions going forward, because it's so good and so well integrated that something else like Adobe, I'm sure at least initially, isn't going to be nearly as integrated. But the other thing that excites me is there's signs that the out of the box marketing functionality is coming back to life in some ways, because event management and other things necessitate kind of brushing off some of these other, because they're so tied into various marketing type functionality.
Right.
So
Right.
that's exciting that anytime users get improvements to functionality like that, I think is a good thing. And there's so many uses for that functionality, like campaigns and marketing lists, even outside of marketing. I mean, just building an ad hoc list, you can't beat a marketing list.
Right. No, exactly. And being able to do things like leveraging the CRM, the API to build list management solutions for a customer, that you could then take data from multiple systems, mash that all together to derive a marketing list. That's a big deal, and it's all custom development now. If there was a way with Power BI and other Microsoft Stack components that we could then and with Dynamics 365 to be able to take those jigsaw puzzles and pieces and put them together in a way that gives that kind of integration, that is my dream state. But we'll see if that comes to fruition.
The other topic that you sent was about the disbanding of the Microsoft band. Do you have any thoughts about that?
Yes. So I'm happy to say that I own, and I believe you do as well, the only Microsoft hardware, the two Microsoft hardware products that are still in full swing, that being the Microsoft Surface Pro and the Xbox One. So I at one point I did own a Zune. I loved that Zune, and I really pushed off until the last minute to be able to move to the iPod or iPhone. But yeah, it's with the retirement of the Microsoft band, it was a great concept, but once again, failed execution.
Well, my thought is, as a band owner or a former band owner, fortunately I sold my band before this happened, and probably got the maximum amount of money you can get for a reused band, for already reused band. It was a misguided device, because you either have to be a Fitbit and do one thing really well, or 2 to 3 things really well, or the multi-purpose everything to everybody Apple Watch.
Right.
And it tried to be kind of both, in that it had the apps, but it didn't have a big enough screen to do anything useful with an app other than show text messages. And it did the exercise and sleep, but not as good as a Fitbit does, at twice the price of a Fitbit. So it had sub Fitbit functionality at a Apple Watch type price. So yeah, so that's my thought on it.
Yeah, it's
And
sad.
it was very uncomfortable too. You had to have the face inside your wrist because that was where the sensor was, and you looked like the nerdy, junior high science teacher who wore his watch on the inside of his wrist.
Like you were wearing a bracelet or something.
Yeah, and it felt like a prison bracelet too.
Yeah.
So it felt terrible. It had terrible battery. George, what do
Yeah.
you think?
I think that
Get closer to it.
I think what is that better?
That's better.
I feel for people, I won't name names, but there is a company at this conference that offers band as a prize. So I wonder how that is going
So
to
one
work
of,
out.
one of their prizes is a Microsoft band.
Yeah, if you walk down the hall, you'll see.
They can call it a limited edition,
Right. They
collector's edition.
They should run it up to
Collector's
their
edition,
room,
I like
spray
that.
paint it gold. Say it's a fancy new gold limited edition.
Well, and here's the deal: the most important, the most exciting thing about band was the software and the technology, and that technology did not require them to have their own hardware product. If they had, if they could get a relationship with Fitbit or Jawbone or any of these other ones and have theirs, and the crazy thing was Fitbit already integrates with Microsoft Health Vault, not the Microsoft Health software. And so you can get your Fitbit steps and sleep and everything showing up on Microsoft Health Vault. But it was just crazy to have something totally different, in that when they had a competing band, nobody else would sign up to partner with it because Microsoft was the fox in the hen house.
Right. But yeah, and that's, if you notice, where they do that kind of partnership is really where they really execute well, with the lone exception of the Surface. So, and even with the phone, when they purchased Nokia and tried to make their own phone, that unfortunately was just that was just wrong place, wrong time. They waited too long to jump on that. So.
Yeah, so add that to my graveyard of old Microsoft technology that never went anywhere. I had a Zune. I actually had a Microsoft phone system from the early 2000, maybe 99 era, where basically it would hook up to your computer, and it did some smart things, but it was actually like a landline phone. And I had the Microsoft Pulse watch back in like 1995. You would hold it in front of your screen and it would flash lights and had a little sensor, and you could put like 200 contacts on it, things like that. So lesson learned, don't buy Microsoft hardware until the third generation.
Exactly.
So let me just ask you a question. Does that make Xbox the only successful hardware?
No, Surface Pro.
Microsoft mice, the most successful Microsoft hardware product.
Well, and they had the Sidewinder joystick.
Oh,
No,
that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
there's been some gaming stuff that they've been very successful on. Peripherals.
Well, as far as
I would say big box purchases, the Xbox would be the main one, though. Yes, having sold millions and millions.
I'm here with Allison January from Click Dimensions. So what's new with Click Dimensions?
Well, we have our new campaign automation builder that came out, and that's what everyone is really intrigued in learning more about and putting together processes, but also what's in that roadmap. So we have some social sharing coming out that we're going to add into campaign automation, and we're going to enhance our lead scoring a little bit, so that's going to help qualify better leads.
So what does the campaign automation, what does that do that your old campaign designer didn't do? I mean,
So-
what are there's a lot, but what are the
Yes.
big areas of focus?
So it's kind of funny, but I say our new campaign automation builder is like our old nurture builder, but on steroids. So you can just get so much more granular in the decision tree and which path individuals should take. So before it was more so, did they open, did they click, here's the next step. Now you can actually base which path someone takes on decision nodes, did they post forms, and interactions with emails. And then you can add in workflows to customize those as well.
So it's not just seeing what they did, but then basing decisions on those actions. So if they take a certain action, it does something else.
Exactly. And so now, we're really focusing on the campaign entity within CRM, so everything rolls up to that, including this new campaign automation builder. So you can really just go to a campaign within CRM and you can create all of your content, whether it's forms or surveys, landing pages, email templates. You can really get your reporting because everything is associated back to that campaign level. So organizations are starting to be able to drill into their ROI and really see exactly what's going on with that campaign.
So what's new with the lead scoring?
So, my development team, if they listen to this, that's going to come out in January. So, development doesn't really give us a whole lot of details because they know that we'll sell it before it actually comes out. But from what I understand, you're going to be able to devalue the score. So if someone does not have an interaction within, let's say 6 months, then we want to subtract from their score. We're also going to be able to do, I believe, some more things around like demographics, right? So job title scoring and really just being able to get a little bit more granular with it.
So that's cool. So it's just making it smarter, making it so the lead score doesn't get stale.
Right, to my understanding. So everyone on this can't quote me yet.
We'll come back in January and check if you're right.
If I'm a good salesperson, right?
So I guess, who are the biggest competitors you're coming up against these days?
Well, not to sound arrogant, but when organizations really want to have that customer 360 view, Click Dimensions is the obvious choice, right? So we do have competitors in the space, but we really have that sweet spot with just focusing on dynamic CRM. So if organizations are implementing CRM and they want to have everything in one centralized location, there's really not much going on.
Yeah, you're definitely the most integrated. That's why you're hands down the only one I recommend usually. So that's good. So I'm super glad you were at the conference. Have you been in Greenville before?
Yes, so this is my third time. Born and raised in Atlanta, you would think I would have traveled up here a little more often.
People in Atlanta don't like to drive, though. I've noticed people in Atlanta, they have to leave their house. It's a big thing for them.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to moving back to that traffic.
All right. Well, thanks for coming, and thanks for talking to us on the CRM Audio. And, I'm looking forward to see what's coming and see the new campaign builder and the lead scoring. That's great.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for having us here.
This has been CRM Audio, the Microsoft Dynamics CRM podcast. You can hear previous episodes on our website, crm.audio. Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, follow us on Twitter at CRM Audio, or leave us a comment on our Facebook page, facebook.com/CRM podcast. If you have any topic suggestions or questions that you would like for us to answer on a future episode, please drop us an email at voice@crm.audio. Special thanks to Dale Simmons for our theme music. Go check out his website, dalesimmons.com. Please join us next time on CRM Audio.